Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I am super excited to be making this video, actually revealing my second investment property that I'm going to be buying at age 23. So in this video I'm going to give you guys the details of the brand new house. I'm going to tell you guys how I found the house and also give you guys some tips on how you can find deals in your own area. And then I'm even going to go into the financials and the numbers on the back end of this deal so you guys fully understand why this deal made sense for me, and you guys are going to be able to see exactly how much money this deal is actually going to make for me as well. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, then stick around. Okay, so first thing I want to do is actually jump into the details of this house. So this house is going to be a 4-bed, 2.5-bath property. It's about 1,758 square foot. I'm purchasing it for $375,470. It's a detached townhome and it's in a brand spanking new neighborhood. Literally, all the houses on the street haven't been lived in yet, and I'm going to be one of the first people to actually live in this community. So now I want to talk about how I actually wound up finding this deal. Now for me, it was a lot easier to find this as my 9-to-5 job. I actually am an accountant slash office manager for a drywall company in my city. So I have some pretty good connections to contractors and different people in the housing community. So I've known about these townhomes coming up for a while. And because of that, I was able to get on their list pretty early as far as people who wanted to go to their sales event. And when I went to their sales event, I looked for the least optioned home that they were selling in the size of plan that I was looking for. And I'll hurry and tell you why I did that. I looked for the least optioned home because basically when you're buying brand new homes, you can buy homes with nicer finishes or a little bit less expensive finishes, right? Now, the people who go and buy these really nice optioned out homes with the nice finishes in it, they might pay way more than you. Like for example, I'm paying $375,000, $470,000 for my place, and just down the road, same size of house, but it's $412,000. I don't know if you can see that. Now there you go, $412,500. And the only difference is just that their house has a little bit nicer finishes on it. And when I say finishes, it's things like doorknobs or cabinet hardware. And if you wanted those nicer finishes, you could put them into your house for far cheaper than what you would pay if you were to do it through the builder. So anyway, now let me hurry and give you guys some tips on how I like to find properties, used and new. We'll go ahead and start with the new properties, as that is more or less my favorite way of buying property right now. I really have been enjoying buying new property because there's so much less headache with having to worry about maintenance expense, and sometimes they even come with warranties, which is really convenient, so that way you don't have to worry about major things happening to your property. And on top of that, that's where I keep on finding these good deals that are below market value, is in new homes. So, you know, everyone's area is a little bit different, but in my area, that's how it's been. So anyway, let's hurry and talk about how to find a new home. My first suggestion is that you get a hold of the builder directly and with no agent. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but if you know your area and you know kind of your average price per square foot, you'll be able to identify something that is undervalued without an agent. And sometimes when you come in without an agent, it will actually save you a little bit of money on the home. Maybe the builder will actually give you a credit because now they don't have to pay for the buyer's agent. So a lot of the times you can actually get some money back on your house just for coming into a new builder with no agent. Now that you're talking directly to the builder, I like to ask them these questions. Do you have any projects that are meeting my specifications, whatever your specifications might be? For me, I want townhomes that are detached. So for me, it would go a little something like this. Do you guys have any projects right now that are detached townhomes? If the answer is yes, awesome. You know, where are they? Can I go see your model home? Have you guys already pre-sold them? Are there any lots available? Start getting the information on them from there. If not, then ask them, are there any projects coming up, even if they're years out? Are there any projects coming up that fit that description? If so, is there a list that I can get on to be notified of when I can possibly come and look at one of these homes, or possibly be one of the people who has first dibs on purchasing one of these properties? Now that's super important, because even though it might be years from now, or heck, even just months from now, whatever it might be, at least now you're on a list and you're gonna get a phone call, and now you have another chance at finding a good property. Now let's say you don't wanna buy new homes, you don't wanna have to talk to contractors directly, and you're just looking for something used that's below market value. Personally, I just like Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com. All of them are really great. If you need to find your price per square foot, I know Realtor.com at least notates that for you, and I think Zillow does too, but either way, it's just your price, and you divide that by the actual square footage of the home, and that will give you your price per square foot. But all those platforms are great, and the way that I like to do it is you just kind of make a filter search, and I know on Realtor.com you can save your filtered search, And just make sure you go in there and put all your different criteria of what you're looking for in your new house, and then go on there daily. It's not very hard. You just go on there and scroll through the new listings for about 30 seconds on each one of those platforms every day. And I can almost guarantee you that after a few months of looking, you're almost guaranteed to find something that fits your criteria that you can at least start working on or trying to, make a deal on. Also, before you actually start shopping for houses, I suggest that you get your pre-approval letter ready to go, so that way you know how much you're approved for. And then also that way when you are ready to make an offer, you have something to actually come up that looks like a good deal to you. You're ready to strike right then. You don't have to worry about going and messing around with your lender and trying to get your pre-approval letter done. Okay, so now that I've told you the details of the property as well as how I found the property and gave you some tips on how you could go out and find your own investment property as well, I want to dive into the numbers on the back end of this deal and actually show you how this deal is going to make me money over time, and really just break down how all the financials on the back end of a real estate deal kind of work, or at least how the back end of my real estate deal here specifically is working. And I think it will give you guys a really good real life example of all the things you have to take account for when you're trying to actually structure and figure out if a deal is going to make sense for you. All right, so now let's jump right into the deal analysis spreadsheet that I made for this project. So very first thing right here, you can see the purchase price of $375,000, $470,000. I'm going to be doing a down payment of 5%. Now let's hurry and stop and talk about this 5% down payment and how I was able to come in on a second property for only 5%. Now the way that I did this is I moved out of my first home, and if you haven't seen my first home and kind of the logistics on that first deal, and it's actually my first rental unit as well, then go back and just look at my prior video, how I made $200,000 at 22 years old, and that will give you all the specifics on that specific deal. But anyway, the way that I was able to come in with only 5% down is I was able to move into it as my primary residence, and I have the intent to live there for 1 year. I'm going to live in this home for 1 year before I move and rent out this home and actually do something like this again. Anyway, if you come in and actually plan to make this property your primary residence, you can get away with putting 5% down on a conventional loan. Everybody thinks you need 20% or more than that for an investment property or for a conventional loan if it's your second home, but that's just not the case. You can just put 5% down. So that's what we wound up doing here. And now if you take that off, it gives you the loan amount of $356,696.50. Okay, so now that we have the information of what the loan amount is going to be, now let's talk about the actual financing for the property. For me, I was able to qualify for a 30-year fixed mortgage at 3.49%. So here is a breakdown of the monthly costs. We have principal of interest coming in at $1,601 per month. PMI, because it is only 5% down, that is the one drawback to putting less money down is you get PMI. But we'll talk about PMI here in just a second and why PMI really shouldn't make too big of a difference for you on a deal, so long as you take into account for PMI, right? But anyway, PMI is $160.51. Property tax is $149.32. Insurance for it's $45 every month, and the HOA is about $45. So that puts it right around $2,000.83 every month as far as my cost to own the actual property. Now just keep all those numbers in mind, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about that when we're doing a cash flow analysis. So now let's actually talk about the equity that's going to be made immediately the day I actually close on the property based on the comps. So like I was showing you just a minute ago, there was this house right here. I'll hurry and just put it up on screen again for $412,500. That's a direct comp to my house. It's the exact same size, and like I said, it's mostly just options. So truthfully, my house is pretty much worth exactly what that is, and I bet you I could sell my house the day I moved into it for that same amount and most likely get it. So with that being the case, we can take that comp amount, $412,500, minus our loan amount, and then we want to factor in the fact that we're still going to be putting a 5% down payment out of pocket, and we have cash to close of $81.33 that's also going to come out of pocket. So that technically you want to take off of your equity because you're not making that money. So after that's all said and done though, the day we sign our name on the closing documents, I'm going to be making $28,897 immediately after signing my name. And immediately after signing, that $29K of equity just goes straight to my net worth and increases my net worth just a little bit more. So that's kind of the breakdown on the equity that is actually made just by signing my name on some paper before I even move into the home. So now let's talk about that cash flow analysis I brought up earlier, where we're going to revert back to the actual monthly cost to own this thing. So based on rental income estimates that I've done based on comps out there, so if we look at these two comps right here, these are two homes that are out for rent in a community just a few blocks away from mine out there. They're also very, very new homes, and they're built by the same builder, but it's not the exact same community, but they're going to be close enough to kind of give us a rental estimate here. So what we can do is we just average what they're renting per square foot, and it came out to be about nearly $1.18 a square foot, just under, you can tell right here. And then we times that by our square footage, and we can see that the rental income estimate should come in right around $2,070 a month. And then we take our cost to own, and then we also can estimate what our monthly maintenance will be. For me, I've not even had any monthly maintenance in my first home that I purchased because it's brand new. And I expect the same thing. I like to store away about $25 a month just in case something does come up, but so far, been really, really lucky, knock on wood, haven't had much, so I only budget about $25 a month. So that leaves us only cash flowing about $45 a month of free cash flow. So now you might be wondering, well, Caden, why would you be doing this deal if you're only going to be making $45 a month of free cash flow? Well, we need to remember a couple more things, which is why I notate this down here. Remember that the property taxes and the actual interest on your mortgage, those are big tax deductions. So, just the property taxes alone, if you take $150 off of that cost to own equation, now you're almost at a cash flow of $200 a month. And then the interest on this thing is actually exceptionally high, especially at the beginning of a loan. I wouldn't be surprised if that principal and interest at the beginning of a loan is over $1,000 a month. And so just in tax deductions alone, you're getting quite a nice benefit on top of this free cash flow that we still have left over. And then it's also important to remember that anything that does go towards the principal from your rents is just building equity in the property. And so even though you don't necessarily get to keep that cash in your bank account and you get that cash flow to you, it is still paying off a mortgage for you and increasing equity in this property for you. So really, it's like a savings account for you. It's just that you don't get to see this savings account in front of you. You don't have a way to go on your phone and go, oh, look, I just got another $600 adding my savings account. No, you just have to go and look at what your principal amount remains on that loan, and then you just equate your equity. And sure enough, you'll see your equity be going up as your renter's paying off your mortgage for you. So those are some things to keep in mind. And then after about 3.75 years, or almost 4 years, then PMI falls off. And this is what I wanted to talk about, why PMI really isn't so important. So after 3.75 years, assuming that the real estate market does what it averages, which is about a 2% appreciation per year, with the equity that's in this home, I'll be able to have my PMI just drop off. So that's $160 of expenses. That's just going to drop right off of my payment. And with that happening, now all of a sudden you can see the cash flow per month is $200 a month. And still we're getting all the benefits from that, all the principals going to the equity, and that all the property taxes and all the interest are also tax deductible at the end of the year. So now it starts making a lot more sense. Yeah, you have to wait 3, almost 4 years for that to occur, but it occurs eventually. Not to mention that could also happen faster. Say the housing market zooms some more and we keep on having wild appreciation happening in my area like we did last year. Then all of a sudden PMI might drop off, not in 3 years, but maybe 2 or maybe 1.5, So those are things that you want to keep in mind. And really what that allows you to do is that allows you to come in with this 5%, this only $18,000 down payment, rather than a 20% down payment. And yeah, you're stuck with this $160 a month for a couple of years, but eventually it just falls off anyway, and you were able to leverage your way into real estate even better than you would have been if you would have had to put down 20% and had to take all that capital from your own personal bank accounts to actually fund this project. Some people do that, but myself, I think it's worth carrying the PMI, and you can be certain that PMI will come off eventually, in this case about 4 years from now. And to me, I just think it makes a lot more sense for the deal. to wind up coming in with less money that reserves capital for you, and you might be able to actually go out there and start some more ventures, buy some more real estate, and get that compounding growth effect in your real estate portfolio because of the fact that you're retaining more capital to go venture and do more with. So now, speaking about 4 years in the future, I also wanted to go ahead and just kind of see where the equity would be in about that 4-year timeline as well when that PMI dropped off. So if you're basing off a 2% appreciation per year annually, right, then at that point the house is going to be worth about $444,000. The loan amount that we still owe towards the principal is going to be right around $329,000. We still have that down payment and that cash to close that we want to take into account here, and we will have made almost $90,000 of equity in less than 4 years. So now going through all those numbers, you can really just see how quickly you can build wealth and also be building a passive income stream by buying real estate. And I'm really excited to say that this second property of mine does look like it's going to be able to do that for me in the years to come. So yeah, with that all being said, I'm really excited about this second investment property. And in the future, I will be doing a full walkthrough tour of the home when it is fully completed and has cabinetry and painted and everything, and it's done that way, because as you can tell from the videos, it's not fully done yet, but it's really close. In fact, I think our closing date is January 21st. So right around that time, be watching the channel. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that way you can have the full walkthrough tour of my new home, and I'll show you everything that's kind of going on there around that time. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the content today. I hope you maybe learned something or just found the video entertaining. If you did, make sure you hit the like button down below. Also, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you're interested in seeing more real estate content similar to this, or if you're interested in seeing content like stocks or crypto or anything personal finance related. That's exactly what we center our channel around here at Modern Money. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe down below. Anyway, guys, I hope you had a happy new year, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.